Welcome back to the Photos by Mikey podcast. My name is Mikey, your host for today's episode. Today we have my awesome friends, Miss Silvi. She's back for another episode. And then her friend, Irene.
Hello.
So welcome, guys. Thank you guys so much for hopping on this podcast.
Thank you for having us.
I know, I'm excited.
So Irene is a newbie to the podcast, so I want to welcome her, but I also want to introduce her a little bit. So she is kind of new to the wedding photography scene, right?
Yeah, pretty new.
Okay, cool. So let's kind of get to know you a little bit and see how you got into the wedding photography. So tell us your story.
Yeah, well, I got into just photography in general. I really started loving it when I was really little, like 9, honestly. But I kind of always loved the idea of like, oh my gosh, I want to do photography one day. Originally, it was, I want to be a YouTuber. Like, I was super into like, I want to be in front of the camera. Like I want to travel and do things. But I don't do well in front of the camera. So I just fell in love with photography. And my brother started his business. I don't remember how long ago. I was probably like 12. And for some reason, he thought I was capable of helping him. So he actually took me on my first wedding. And I think I did my first 2 with him, but I only did a reception the first time and a ceremony the second time. But at that time, I did not love it.
Okay.
I was kind of like, why do people do this? Like, why? Like, this is so tiring. And after this, I still have to, like, edit all of these photos. Like 2,000 photos, like really? But yeah, so at that time I did not love it yet. It was cool, did not love it. But then I met Silvi. Yeah, Silvi's great. I had always kind of just loved like couple photography. Like eventually that's what I want to do. Like only like couples, weddings, elopements. And meeting Silvi, she just gave me the opportunity to go with her and actually see that it's possible to do it, because I only saw it as like a hobby, but it's an actual thing now. So
well, how did you meet Silvi?
Through church.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really funny because like we didn't know each other for long.
No, I think it was like we saw each other, but it wasn't like, hey.
Yeah, no.
I think
It was like, it's probably like when you guys go to church, you just see each other and say hi and bye. And
I think, no, I literally saw her once.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I know her family. So when they got married, her and her husband, I remember looking at her Instagram and seeing her photography page and saying like, oh my gosh, she's a photographer. But she's good. Like, she's a good one. Oh, dang. So I just knew like, okay, this could be like cool. And of course I didn't know if I was actually going to connect with her or actually like get somewhere with her, just because you never know. It's always hard finding someone to work with. But yeah, I just remember I saw her at a church. It was a church picnic, and I was with my friend, and I told her like, dude, like we need to go talk to her. Like she's a photographer. We need to go. And we went, and then I just told her like, so like, hey, I like photography too. But she was so nice. She was just like, hey, like if you ever want to go, like I'll take you with me. And I feel like that's kind of basic. Oh,
sorry about that. Yeah. A baby alarm.
It was you. Sorry. Sorry. So funny. Oh, dang.
You were talking about you walked up to Silvi because she was a photographer?
Oh, shoot.
You're okay. I'm sorry.
You're good.
That was my fault.
It was your alarm.
I know.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's always like when you talk to a photographer or talk to people, it's nice for people to just say off the bat, like, yeah, like I'll take you with me, or yeah, like we should hang out soon.
Right.
But nothing happens after.
Right.
But like it was just crazy to me how Silvi was just kind of literally like, I have a wedding, come with me. And I was, okay. I literally was just like, okay, sure. What do I have to lose? Nothing. Let's do it. So that's kind of just how it started.
Oh, was that your second time like helping another photographer besides your brother?
Yeah, that was my second time.
Okay.
But I feel like it was my first official.
Got it.
Just because it was a job. Like, it wasn't like,
Right.
hey, like, just come.
Right.
It was like, you come help me.
So how was that experience like for you, shadowing Silvi here? Was it a full day of shooting, or was it like was it a big wedding, Silvi?
It was a big wedding. It was a full day. It was getting ready to the exit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was a full day. And I remember, I think it was at his parents' worship night that they had. And I told her, there's a wedding that's coming up. It's a full day.
Yeah.
I said, it's something you can see if you like to do with me. And then you were like, yeah, let's do it. And then I think the day that we met up for the wedding, I'm like, it's going to be a long day, just so you know. Getting ready, and then we can get coffee in between, and then, the reception, and then, I wanted to give her like the full day experience.
Absolutely.
Just because it's like, some people are not, they don't like, it's a lot of work.
It is.
And then it's a lot on your feet and a lot on your body. And some people are just like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
So she loved it. And she's like, when's the next one? So, she's been my second shooter since,
Awesome.
that wedding. So every time there's a wedding, I'm like, hey, you want to come? Are you free?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was tiring.
Was it tiring? Yeah, I was curious about your first experience. So like, what did you think about like the entire day from the beginning to the end? Like, what was your thoughts of like going through from getting ready all the way to the grand exit?
I think that first time, it was honestly, like, I had never done that whole thing.
Right.
So it was fun. Like, that first time, I was like, this is so cool. And I remember being tired. But it honestly, it really just helps, like, when you connect with the people you're working with. Like, that's honestly, I feel like what it comes down to. Because if you don't like who you're working with, it's really hard to get through the day. But that day, that was the first time I had ever hung out with Silvi too.
Oh, wow.
So a full day with me.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
my
like,
God.
this is the first time, even Brad, like I knew Brad, but I didn't know Brad.
Okay.
So that was the first time I had hung out with them. And it was fun. Like, it was cool. I was exhausted. And I definitely learned a lot that first time. Like, okay, weddings are never on time. There's something that always comes up, but it's beautiful and it's fun and it's really exciting. So it was really cool. Now I have a better idea of weddings. But it's really tiring. I see the realistic part of it now.
Right.
But also the beauty, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, almost 2 years ago.
Wow. So you've been shooting with Silvi for a few years now.
Yeah, we've done like 5 weddings, 6,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What was your impression about Silvi? Because I know she's very free flow during the wedding night. Like, what's your thoughts about Silvi?
Silvi. Like,
Time to roast me.
I know. I love Silvi. No, I like genuinely, I always tell my friends, like, she's such a good friend. Like, I cannot, like, where I would be in photography would not happen if it weren't for Silvi. It's true. Just because, like, of course I have, like, support.
Yeah.
Like, I have a family. I have brothers who are always like, just do it, just do it, just do it. And my friends would always just tell me, like, why, like, you can do it, just do it. But I was just so scared. I didn't want to start even just a business at all. I didn't. I was scared, like, of failing, of maybe just having a good little high for, like, 2 months of, like, good clients and then just having it go away and then that's it. But seeing Silvi do it made me think, like, okay, this is possible to actually do this. And then, because Silvi is a mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's a wife.
Yep.
And a full-time photographer. And that's like, okay, me? Really? Like, I'm not a mom. I'm not a wife.
Right.
I am 19. I can do this.
Yeah.
So it gave me like hope that it's possible, definitely. But Silvi's great. I love working with her. Just knowing like we're gonna go to a wedding and it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tiring, but we go through it together. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, we just know like our faces of like, you're hungry. You need to eat something. Like you need something.
You need
now.
a Snickers.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I think when you connect with, photographers that have the same like vibes and personalities, it just makes things so much easier on the wedding day.
Definitely.
Especially when you guys get along, because it's like it's a struggle sometimes physically. Like you guys are running around, going to other venues, maybe multiple venues, and like you're getting all your gear. So it's like, having each other's back is always like great, right?
Yeah.
To kind of piggyback on each other if you need some help and things like that. So
Definitely.
It helps that she was just open, because I've seen a lot of photographers where they charge you to like, which isn't there's no like hate towards that. Like I understand you have to make money. Like I understand it's their education. But as a 17-year-old photographer, I had barely gotten a job. I did not have money to spend to be like, okay, let me spend $500 on a call with you for an hour.
Absolutely.
And hope that gets me somewhere. So it was definitely helpful.
Awesome.
She was just like, okay, here's my schedule. Come with me.
Awesome. So Silvi, what did you see in Irene that kind of caught your interest? Like, what was some of the things that you thought she had some potential in?
I saw like she had a lot of love for photography, and then like her account has like very like her personal account was very aesthetically, and then like she's artistic, she draws and does all these things, and I'm just like, there's like an artistic eye there for her, and even like iPhone pictures she would take and post, I'm like, those are like good. Yeah. So I saw potential in her, and then like when she came up to me and talked to me, I'm like, I want to help her. And like, she's young, at the time when I met him, like I told my husband, like, she's young, she has a lot of potential. And if I can help her get on her feet and like push her forward, she can be better than me, and yeah, I swear she can be better than me. And like, there's times where like photographers will take a step back, because of life happens.
Absolutely.
And, she'll be the next person to come forth like in the next generation of photography that can teach someone else too, and like I just saw a lot of potential in her, and I'm like, she can do it. It's just it takes time for sure, for like skills for other people and stuff like that, and it's just I saw potential that she has definitely, and I want to help amplify it and give her the courage and confidence to push it. So, yeah.
It worked. It worked. It's working.
Yeah, and then her personality is just, we clicked, and it was just like confidence.
Awesome. Yeah, because I think even for me, when I look for other photographers that I think has potential, I'm willing to teach them, and if they're willing to learn. And I think as long as you're willing to learn and be open-minded and, always kind of like in that mode of learn, like you can never learn, like you're gonna have to constantly learn, right, in this business, because things change. And I think that's one trait that every photographer should have. Like I'm always learning, and but yeah, I'm always willing to teach too, because I think when you start teaching other photographers, you actually become a better photographer, right? Because you're basically like reiterating what you've learned and then just passing it on, which is, I think it's great. Yeah. So have you done any weddings on your own yet, Irene?
I have one booked.
Oh,
I
nice.
Finally. Oh, this is so cool. Yeah. I had a wedding booked, but it just didn't work out. But now I have one booked for next year, and I'm so excited.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell us about your style, because I know we talked about this on the previous podcast, Silvi, about like different editing styles and maybe posing styles. Can you give us a rundown on like how would you describe your photography style?
That's cool. I feel like right now I'm in a like I'm changing it sort of, because before it was kind of like like I feel like as photographers we know how to take a good photo. Like we know how to pose someone and just say like, okay, they're smiling, perfect. But to get a photo that like makes you like feel something and to make you think that like that's good, like it's not just like, oh, that's cool, like it's like that makes me like feel that's beautiful. That I feel like that's something that I'm really trying to strive for, and I'm really trying to make come out of my photos a result from. So I think my style, I guess, that I'm transitioning into would be more free, more not, like I always tell my clients, like don't act like I'm not here, because I don't want, like I just want to capture what there already is and not what they're supposed to be, I guess. Yeah. Something free, something, I feel like I saw your podcast and when you said your style, I was like, same. It was just like something super, just like indie vibes of just like, it's like cinematic type of like, you know,
Awesome.
I love it. I don't know if you know like Mark DeLeon photo.
I don't think so.
He's so cool.
Yeah.
His photos inspire me so much to get out and just do something.
Awesome.
His photos are great. His presets are really cool too.
Nice. Are you using his presets or do you have? Oh, okay.
Those are so cool.
Well, could describe his presets. Is it, you know, like, is there like certain colors that pop more in that preset?
Yeah. It's a lot. It's like a film pack.
Yeah.
So it's like editorial film pack, but I'm loving the film look. Nice. It just looks so, it's just so funny because we're like going back to like the retro types, but it's so cool. I have a film camera. I just need to learn how to use it properly. But for now, I am using right now I'm using my Canon RP.
Okay. Awesome.
And I'm using the film presets, and they're so cool. It just makes me like feel like I am doing something cool with my photos. Like it actually makes me feel happy with how it comes out versus just like, okay, they smiled, cool. Like it, you know, I feel like we all kind of, when we first start, we result to like the warm tones and super contrasted, presetted photos. But it's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, when I first started, I did like more of that really like high dynamic HDR look. Like I would punch everything super hard in post. But now I am kind of leaning a little bit more towards like the vintage style a little bit more.
Love that.
But it just evolves, right? I mean, as your style evolves, your editing style evolves as well. And also like the way you communicate with clients, I think it's so important, because if you're trying to achieve a certain look, you're going to have to be able to communicate that to the clients, right? Even though I know you guys love like that free flow, but I think you still have to like get them in certain like action mode, right? So how do you guys, like Irene, how do you get them into that mindset of the style that you want? Like, do you have certain prompts, or do you have like, you just let them like run around?
That's what I'm trying to do. Actually, I'm trying to get into different prompts. And because I don't want to just pull out my phone and be like,
here,
okay, like, well, let me think of a little next prompt for you guys.
Check out Silvi's feature on unscripted.
No, unscripted. Unscripted does help. Pinterest is like my favorite thing in the world. But I think that's what I'm starting to do. Prompts of just like, okay, like you guys, like we're in the middle of a field. Like pretend I'm not here. This is your first, like you just got married, or like something like this is like, how do you feel? Like this is like so cool. But a lot, since I am learning that, I am doing a lot of posing. So what I'm just doing is I'll pose them, but I'll tell them like move back and forth, just to create some movement, because I don't want a still photo and then it just looks awkward and they feel awkward, and like I understand, like I know like it's weird on their end because they're like, what? You just want me to stand here like this? Like it's weird. But it's a lot of movement for sure.
Awesome.
Just to make them feel like they're not contained. but also the photos just come out better with a lot of movement.
Yeah, that's great. I think a lot of like young photographers, like you were shadowing Silvi, that's how I learned myself too. Like I would shadow other photographers on the wedding day or our photo shoots, and I would take away little bits and pieces from their own style. So did you take anything away from Silvi's style? Like, did you like certain things that she did in terms of like the way she would pose clients?
I think a lot of my style I think a lot of it because I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I kind of knew, like even posing, like it's still kind of hard for me sometimes. Like I think I'm barely gaining the confidence.
Right.
We just did the wedding on Saturday and I told her I feel like I'm barely confident like in being at a wedding.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, we all grow at our own paces.
Yeah.
So it's not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm still gaining the confidence just because I'm really shy.
Yeah.
And I get really nervous. I don't like saying the wrong thing or making the wrong comment. So I think a lot of it is from Silvi. I don't want to copy her at the same time. Yeah, just because I do have my own style.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think when you look at our pages, you can tell even though like I get things from her, like it's still different, which is cool because we're all different. So it's really awesome.
That's awesome. So, Silvi, in terms of like when you were helping Irene in terms of like the wedding day, like what's some of the challenges like of bringing someone that's kind of really new to wedding photography? I know we talked about it in the last podcast, but what in specifically did you have any challenges with working with like a brand new photographer on the wedding day? I mean, is it more of really just teaching that person, or is it trying to really just have them like follow you and shadow you?
I would say a little bit of both, just because I think it's more so trying to teach them like the good traits of things and like the positives, but then also showing them like some things that can go wrong with some days, so they know like when they have their own wedding day, like their own like wedding to lead, that they know that if this doesn't go right, it's okay. Yeah. The day goes on. And I think another challenging thing is like making sure that I am attending to them too. Yeah. Because they are trusting you on the day of the wedding to lead them and guide them through the day and have them feel comfortable with you. Because there's been times where I've had a second shooter besides Irene, Esley. I've had Esley come with me to one wedding to get her feet wet in, and I think the challenge there was leaving her alone with like the bridal party, because the bride's mom was pulling me out. Right. And she said, I need you to take pictures of my daughter, and I'm like, okay. And I was taking pictures of the groomsmen. Yeah. So I had to leave her with the groomsmen, and she felt uncomfortable later. She told me. Or a little weird. Right. Just because, I mean, I know it's like their first wedding. They don't know, you know. Exactly. They don't know these people. Exactly. You know. So it's just like, I told my husband, I'm like, can you stay with her? Just to kind of ease her. Because she knows my husband a little bit. Got it, yeah. So she stayed with her. But that's like the challenges that like, kind of happen with me when I'm, having a second shooter, just making sure they're comfortable. Yep. Making sure they feel secure, taking care of them, as like the day goes on, and teaching them where to go, what to do, and then being attentive to the bride and the groom, through the day, as the day goes on. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest challenge, is that you're, as a lead photographer, you're so focused on getting, the formalities done that sometimes, also you also have to focus on making sure that you communicate what you need from your second photographer. And so sometimes I feel like if I'm working with a brand new photographer, it's kind of hard a little bit because I don't really know them completely. And so I really have to communicate even more, I think, in detail what we're looking for. But I think if someone is just willing to just take action and learn and be proactive, I think it's always going to go well. Oh yeah. But for you, Irene, since you're so young, like, let me ask you this question, because I've had a conversation with other photographers about this. So, because I started late in my life, and so you're getting in the space super young. Do you feel like age could be sometimes a disadvantage for you? Because like you're 19, you're not married, and then someone
a couple is wanting you to photograph their wedding, they're probably a little bit older. What's your thoughts on that? Like in terms of being so young and photographing a wedding?
Yeah, it sucks. Next question. Next one. I'm kidding. No. That's really funny. So the first wedding that I had booked, I was so confident. I was like, okay, like she paid the deposit. She was really nice. Like she's still like a client. Like she's super awesome. She had booked with me. She paid the deposit, signed a contract. We had met up to do a consultation. And I remember I was like on fire. I was like, so like, what's your timeline? Like, I'll make one for you. Like we were like, she was like missing a lot of things, and I was like filling in the blanks for a lot. Like it was awesome. I felt so good. And we were walking out of the parking lot, and she said like, so how old are you? And at that time I was 18, really? And I told her, I'm 18, and she was like, oh. Like, you could tell, like, her face was like, oh, okay. Like, I was like, yeah, no, but I know what I'm doing. Like, I promise. And she was like, no, like, that's just, like, you're really young. I didn't know you were 18. And I said, yeah, like, I'm 18. But, I mean, I've been doing this for, like, I've done a few weddings already. Like, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. And then she was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. But you could tell she was like hesitant in the fact that I was 18. So I went home just like thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like, why did I tell her I was 18? I should have just told her I was like 21. Like, why did I?
A couple more years.
I know, like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely my first moment of being like, dang, this sucks that I am younger. Mm-hmm. But even when we went to our creative shoot, we hosted a creative shoot oh my gosh, yes. A couple months ago, and it was like 5-6 of us.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, and we were all in a circle. Everyone was introducing themselves, saying like, where are you from? What's your name? How old are you? How long have you been doing this? Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, yeah, like I'm 27, been doing this for 5 years. Mm-hmm. Like I'm... You know, everyone has experience. And I was just like, yeah, I'm 19. And everyone was like, oh, you're such a baby. Oh, my gosh. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Don't remind me.
I know. Thanks. Trust me. I know. Like, I know. So I think there's just a little bit of a disadvantage just because clients might think you're not as reliable.
Yeah.
You're not as trustworthy because, I mean, what kind of 19-year-old is going to be trusted to shoot a whole wedding for a whole day, which is like their most important day of their lives. Like, I understand. Yeah. So no, like, hate towards that or shame, whatever. Like, I understand. It just adds a lot more pressure on my plate for sure, just because I have to prove myself more to, like, here's my portfolio. Here is what I can do here. Like it definitely it definitely helps me to up my game, to prove to not only like my clients, but like to myself, like I can do this. Like even though I'm young, it is hard, but it's possible. So it's cool.
What's your thoughts about that, Silvi, about someone that's starting so young in the wedding photography world?
I think it's awesome because, there's a lot of people, you know, that start later and some that start in the middle and some start younger. And you don't really see too much of the younger people getting in. And I think it's because they feel so, like, discouraged sometimes because, I mean, I know knowing her experience and, like, she's talked to me about that situation. And then, you know, I know it's hard on the younger community who start younger, you know, and they're learning. But, like, if you don't give them the opportunity to learn, they're not going to learn.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like that's why I pulled her. And I'm like, come on, like, even though you're young, you have so much potential. Because, like I said, like, they're the next generation of us when we're done with our game, you know? Yep. They're the next ones that are going to come in and, like, take over and, like, use what other of our times, what we've taught them, they're going to bring it into the next generation and even amplify it more to the next one.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I get motivated by other new photographers that I see like certain things like, man, how did they do that? Like, it could just, for me, it always inspires me when I see like new photographers come out there and just keep killing it. It's like, I got to up my game now. You know what I mean? So like it's like, even though it's a competition, I mean, it's a healthy competition in my opinion, because we're always trying to better ourselves and improve our styles, always evolve. And that's the way it is, I think, in any industry, is just like we're always pushing each other to be a better photographer. So in terms of you guys working together as a team, let me ask you guys this, since you guys have been working together for a couple of years, like what's some of the benefits, I know we talked about earlier, of having someone that really you can connect with on the wedding day, and has the same style? Like what's the benefit of that when it comes to post editing and then also like the client experience?
I think the benefit is like, we know what we think in a sense, and like she knows how I work and I know how she works, and it's then the clients, they get two fun people, because we're a blast. Like you put us in a room together, we're just too much.
Just a little too much.
We're not too much, and I think it's just like, she keeps me young at heart, even though I'm not like that old. I feel like I'm a mom and I'm a wife. I'm like, gosh, I'm so old. And I feel like combining those two with the clients, like they get to have fun and like experience the fun. I don't know. But I think it's just like this, and then like post editing, like we have similar styles.
That's great. And
it just makes it easier, and
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it just makes things flow much easier. Much easier. Like you don't, if your styles are very similar, I can only imagine that it's like, okay, because you're looking for a certain look, right? Overall, it's your wedding, and if you're looking for a certain look, and if your second photographer basically has similar styles, it's just so much easier to trust that photographer that they're gonna get that photos. Right.
Definitely.
Have you guys had any challenges so far, like working together? Like has there been any like wedding that was the most challenging for you guys to work in, or a situation you guys, anything you guys want to share?
I think I don't think we've really hit like a very challenging spot. Do you feel like
you guys have been lucky?
No, I think we've been
very lucky so far.
I mean, it's just typical like wedding, like the mom of the bride is just not having it, or like like it's just weird. I think the most like difficult thing that we've had to face would be just like family photos, or like taking photos and everyone's in the way, and like we're both so shy.
There's times where I think there was one challenge that we faced where the ceremony was taking place outdoors and cocktail hour was literally right next. Like all the tables were set to the side, and so the ceremony was done, and the coordinator was supposed to pull the bride and groom, the bridal party, away, but everyone just came after the ceremony and just bombarded, and I was trying to pull away the bride and groom and everybody to take pictures, but everyone just kept they didn't want to leave the premises of, and I was like, okay, everyone needs to go over there, because I kind of, and I was like, it's frustrating because you don't want to come off mean, but like as I'm trying to teach her, like I'm trying to teach her and explain, because I'm even learning myself. You have to be very strong and like just straightforward sometimes, and just like put your foot down, because you'll lose your voice in this industry with people like coming in and like, and I think that's the most challenging thing for us, is being able to kind of get control of the room if possible, when there's kind of chaos, and then the coordinator that's there doesn't like help out.
Right.
Because I had talked to that coordinator beforehand. I'm like, hey, can you kind of like pull them for me and this and that? And they're like, yeah, just let me know. And I let her know, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And the videographer there was like, he was great. He was really cool. He's like, you just have to go in there and be like, hey, I need you now. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, everyone who's not in the wedding party needs to go over there now. And they were just like, and then continued
They all
talking.
just stood there.
I was like, oh no, it's not working.
That was funny. I don't think I got any photos like during that time. Like that was all you. And I was just literally like...
it was a lot going on. And, like, every time when we're shooting, I want to make sure that... Well, obviously, she's under my care. She's my responsibility. And, like, I just want to make sure she's safe when it comes to, like, stuff like that. And because sometimes people can be mean. And, like...
Absolutely.
My mama bear comes out. Because I always tell her, like, you're, like, my sister, but you're, like, my daughter. And, like, I love you. And, like, I'm here to protect you, too. Like... Yeah. The claws will come out if it needs to. But, like, it's, like, sometimes it's just, those are challenges, though, that we face with people is, like, having to take control of a room. It's hard.
Yeah, I think for me, recently, it's just been definitely the family photos. And I think a big part of it is, having the help of the coordinator or the planner. Yes. And sometimes they are tied up. They get so busy with other things during the wedding day that they have to handle those situations. And so sometimes we have to act as the planner and like just yell at people. And I don't mind doing that because we only have so much time. And if you have multiple locations to shoot in after the ceremony, I was like, okay, we got to get this done and this done. So sometimes like, we really have to take full control, right, of everybody. And sometimes it's the way it is. But I think it's really just getting help from everybody too, because if I had a recent wedding and this past weekend and we didn't have a planner, right? So I became like the voice and it got a little difficult because like the bridal party and, they knew to stay after the church ceremony, but they kind of just went everywhere. And so in that situation, I usually task like the maid of honor, like, can you help me out? Because I can't be running around and finding people and then like still shooting the family photos. Yeah. And it's great to have an assistant or second also to help find people, but it's like technically not really our job, right? We should have someone as a planner or coordinator to help us do that. Yeah. But yeah, family photos are definitely challenging. Yeah. Have you guys had any situations where someone like was kind of like directing you guys like, oh, you should do it this way instead of this way? Oh
yeah, all the time. Everybody.
Oh yeah. Everybody. There's always the one family member or one of the family's siblings that are just like, we want this, we want that, but how about like this or do this? And I'm like, okay.
What do you say?
I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do that after. Like and then she's like, get a picture of this, and then get a picture of this family with this family, and then this family. I'm like, oh, I know it. I'm like, oh, I know, it's okay. Thank you. Like, thank you for reminding me, but I know. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's just like, I don't want to be rude because I think they're trying to make sure that, their sibling gets all the photos that they want together. But sometimes it's just like, we've done this before. We know what we're doing. We know the lists. And sometimes, like, I always tell the brides to, like, give me a shot list of what you want.
Absolutely.
There was this one wedding that I did with Esley where the sister had all the shots that they wanted. And she was, I think she was the planner, like the wedding planner. But she got all the shots done, like, in the list of what she really wanted. So that was helpful. Yeah. But... other than that, other family members that are like, we call this family and this family and this family and this family. And I'm like, we are not doing like all these people. It's just immediate family. Exactly. And, and the bridal party. And then I had one of the bride's mom be like, but they are family. And I'm like, but it's just immediate. But they are family. I'm like, we're not doing a whole group of other families. It's just like mom, dads, brothers, siblings, and grandparents. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are pretty difficult because you only, like I said, you only have so much time. And so what I always say is, of course, prepping your clients, right, your bride and groom, to understand what's going to happen after the ceremony, if that's your plan to do family photos. And I always tell them, we can always do that at the reception and do table photos. But I get it, you know, sometimes cousins, like, you haven't never met, they want to take a photo with you, or friends are like, oh, can I get in there? You know, it's like, okay, you got to wait a little bit, you know? And sometimes too, another thing I've seen is like people just wants to like, can you take a photo with my phone really quick? I'm like, okay, all right. let me just tell you really quick. Let me take this. We're taking family photos, but we can always do that after, right? So I think being respectful is always key. Yeah. But yeah, like just taking control. Like we were talking about that thing I said earlier about like people suggesting certain things. Sometimes I try not to sound condescending, but I was like, oh, it's on my list. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell them just to make them feel like they're part of it.
Yeah.
But eventually I was like, yeah, I got it. Don't worry. I'll make sure we take awesome photos of the family.
Yeah. Like reassure them like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was like thinking, remember the last wedding? No, because, okay, so we have a good time. Like, even though like we get the job done. Yeah. But we have a good time too. Like, it's not just like, hey, like you cannot, like, do not even move. Like, sit here, take the photos. Like, it's not, like, we have a good time. So, like, Brad, he was just like, Irene, like, the music was playing. He said, like, I dare you, like, go over there and just, like, hip hop dance. And I was just like, okay, sure. So I went and I did it. But the grandma of the mom's side or the bride's side,
I think so.
She was like, aren't you supposed to be taking photos?
Oh.
And I was like, but I didn't hear, like, I heard it, but I didn't know she was talking to me.
Yeah.
And so I walked back and I was like, that was so fun. And Silvi and Brad were like,
I was on the other side and I was walking behind the grandma, like a little bit of a distance.
I was so embarrassed.
Oh,
it was so embarrassing. It was funny.
And I was like, and then I'm like, Irene, did you hear that? She's like, no, what? And she says, aren't you supposed to be taking photos?
It was funny.
And I was like, oh.
It was embarrassing.
Wow.
I was definitely like, oh, man.
But, like, the bride was so cool. She's like, take a break. It's okay.
Yeah.
That was a cool
we were
wedding.
just, like, we were, like, having fun. And that's the thing. Like, I think, I mean, they're older people, you know. They're older. And they expect us to be working constantly.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean,
get it.
Like, we get it. It's just, like, it was just, like, a little, like, someone just said that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. Because sometimes I like to dance too on the dance floor. So, but you still have your camera. It's not like you're dancing for like an hour. Like, maybe for one song and then you come back to reality and you start taking photos. So.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. I've never heard of like, maybe because of like, you said their grandparents and they have a different mindset. Like you should always be taking photos. But I think it's really depending on your couple that, because sometimes couples will want you to have fun. Yeah. Like this past weekend at the loft here, I was supposed to be done by 10, but they wanted me to just stay and dance. So I literally just put my camera away. I stayed until midnight.
Oh, fun.
Just showing my moves a little bit. Yeah, it was a long day. Yeah, and I normally don't do that, but it's just some couples you connect with. It's like crazy, right? And they become my really good friends. And so they were so grateful that I stayed because they wanted me to stay. I was like, okay, I don't live too far. I'll have maybe a drink or two with you. And then, I'll have a couple shots with you and then we just, dance. And they were just super fun. So but I think, it really depends on the couple, right? On how you really connect.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Irene, like, what's your ideal couple? Like,
oh my gosh,
how would you describe your ideal client to
I think
us?
every wedding I always talk about this.
Yeah, tell us.
My ideal client, my ideal couple, someone that just doesn't care. Like in a way of like I understand weddings are crazy. Yeah. Like there's so much to do. Everyone's getting ready. Everyone's on a timeline. It's a long day. Yeah. But we actually went to Yosemite. Oh. And that was fun. That was cool. But I still feel like I'm waiting for the couple that like they're willing to do anything and they're not necessarily like, oh my gosh, like my hair, like is it like let me make sure it's like perfect, or the guy's like, oh my gosh, like make sure like my arms look cool, or like, you know, like like I just feel like I'm waiting for a couple that are just so, which I'm not saying that none of the couples are in love with each other, but like I'm waiting for a couple that is literally just so in love with each other where they do act like I'm not there.
Gotcha.
Just because I feel like I see so many like wedding videos and like films and photos where I could just tell like that couple, like they don't care about like anything. Like it's literally just them against the world. And that's awesome. That's something that I definitely am excited to shoot one day. I know it's possible. But just a couple that is, just down for anything, I guess. I really want to shoot a wedding one day where it's not so contained to a timeline, where it's not so like, I guess that would be more of an elopement, just where it's not like a smaller wedding, where it's not so focused on like how, make sure I look perfect, make sure does my face look weird, or like it's like we don't care, like you look good, this is your day.
I know. I think a lot of couples out there sometimes are so maybe insecure about little things that doesn't, again, in our opinion, maybe doesn't matter, right? Like a hair here or something with their makeup or something like that. And I'm kind of the same way. Like I feel like everybody's beautiful, right? Yeah. And it doesn't really matter like if what's your good side and left side. It's like, you know, I mean, everyone's beautiful, but I think a lot of people, when you get in front of the camera, they just feel insecure because they want to look good. But I hear what you're saying. That's a great thought. Like what would a couple normally do on like a date, right? Naturally, if you weren't there. Yeah. Right. And so I think that's what you're trying to capture is like, if they were on a date on a picnic at a park, like you know, you're like a ghost taking a photo. Yes. Imagine if you were invincible. That would be great.
That would be great. Yeah.
Flash.
Oh yeah.
That would be great. Yeah. Just because the camera, like I get it. It's really intimidating. Yeah. I'm not a fan of being in front of a camera. It's just not, like I get it. Yeah. It's not, I get it. But at the same time, like I feel like you have nothing to lose. Like if you don't like the photos, I mean, you could always retake them. I mean, you can't redo a wedding. I get it. Right. But I don't know. It would be so cool just to shoot a wedding or a couple that doesn't necessarily care so much about how they look. Yeah. But just about what's going on in the moment. Right. And I think a big part of that too is like the couple really trusts you and they trust your work, so they're not worried about the outcome at that moment. They just live the moment. And I think, you know, I think that's every photographer's like dream client is just like you find the right couple that just 100% commits to you, and it doesn't matter what you do, they believe in you. So and that also a big part, I think, when you're still so young in photography, I know in my experience, it was more of not believing in my work in the beginning. And it took me a while to really like gain the confidence to like say, like, and I've shared this in other podcasts, like when I really understood like, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm a wedding photographer, I would say it with confidence. Because before, when I would like tell my family and friends, oh, I'm a wedding photographer, like, you know, it didn't come out with confidence because I wasn't sure like this is what I want to do, or I wasn't 100% like, okay, my work is good enough. So like, I get that. What's your thoughts right now, like in terms of your work? Like, what do you feel about your work right now? Like, and how do you see yourself in 5 years? Oh, wow. That's a deep question.
Yeah.
I think right now I am starting to get confident. Okay. Because like I said, my style before, I think it was pretty basic. It was just kind of like, okay, 30 minutes. Yeah. We get a few poses, we're good. It's more challenging now because I'm trying to actually make people feel something with the photos.
Gotcha.
But Oh my gosh, what was the question? I'm so sorry. My mind just
no worries. Like, since you're so young, right? And you're still kind of developing your style. And like I was sharing my story, like it was the lack of belief in my work.
Yeah.
In terms of like maybe the lack of confidence right now, is it more about not believing in your work, or is it something else?
Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah, I think I'm barely getting confidence now. I mean, even sometimes, like I was just telling her, I recently had a shoot where I finished editing it.
Yeah.
But I'm scared to send it out.
Really?
Like I am. Just because I know, like the client that I worked with, they're very picky.
Okay.
And I just know that that client is the type of person, like if they don't like their photos, they'll tell the world, like, don't get photos from them. So I am still working on that. Like I am still kind of scared. So it's a lot of like, I think if I were doing it alone, I probably would have already given up. Just because that's so sad, I know. Just because I'm really hard on myself. Like if it's a photo or a gallery where I'm not proud of, I'll send it. And it honestly probably is a good gallery. Like it honestly is.
Yeah.
But it's just me like, dang it, like no, the colors just look weird, or I could have done better. I could have done more, or I could have just done less even. Like it was not that great. But it's just me. Like I'll show the photos to Silvi.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Do you ever like ask her opinion?
Yeah, like she'll tell me like, send me your photos, like let me see. And I'll send them to her, and she'll just send me like all these heart emojis and like all these things, and I'm like, yes, it looks great. That's so cool. And I have like some like my best friend, like he'll tell me like dude, like that looks so cool, and I'm like, does it really? Like really? Like you think so? Okay, cool, like great. Okay, now I feel I'm definitely like I need affirmation.
Yeah.
To know that my work is like good, because in myself I'm very hard on myself.
Got it.
But in 5 years, I'll be good.
You'll be fantastic.
Yeah,
if this is the route that I'm going in.
Yeah,
no, I think that's just something like even outside of photography that I do need to work on. Just like not being so hard on myself. Because like I think that's everyone can relate to that. Like we're always
absolutely
thinking like we could be so much better, which is true.
Yeah,
like there's always something to grow in.
So Silvi, what advice would you give her, right? Because I know a lot of photographers may be lacking confidence in their work. Like, how would you like help her in that situation if she's kind of doubting her photos that she's gonna deliver?
I always tell her, because like I'm always like an uplifting person, but I will be honest, if needed. But when she does that, I'm like, Irene, stop it now, because they look fantastic. And I told her like, they look so good, and like, I don't know, like it's just I do send a lot of heart emojis. And I'm like, heart. But like I always tell her like, dude, like you have so much potential. Like what do you don't doubt yourself. And I know there's been times where she's told me like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, don't quit. Because if it was, and I think like the last time we talked, if it wasn't for my husband pushing me, I don't think I'd be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So like, I don't want her to give up, and I'm always real with her, and I tell her like, this industry is hard.
It is. Yeah.
It takes time, and like we hit slow seasons, and we just have to be cautious and save and like, budget ourselves with things because there is slow seasons, and I did like I warned her in the beginning too. I said we're not always busy.
Exactly.
It's not always like that, and we'll hit a slow season between, I want to say, November-ish, like towards the end of November till like February. There's a slow season because the holidays.
Everybody's on vacation.
Yeah, and Christmas gifts. Nobody wants to spend that much right now, and like then we hit a slow. I hit a slow season sometimes between the summer.
Yeah,
because it's hot.
Exactly.
No one wants to be outside. And then it's just like, I always encourage her, like, you got this, you can do it. And then she texts me like, for her, like, I booked my first wedding. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yes.
So you were the first person I texted. I was like,
yes. And it's just like, I want to be that encourager for her. Because, like, when I started, I didn't have that, like, encouragement. And, like, my family wasn't that encouraging. You know, my dad's old school. So he's like, that's a hobby. That's not a career.
Get a job. Yeah.
Get a job.
Yeah.
And I love my dad, like, but sometimes it's kind of like I need that support, that affirmation. But now I have, my husband, I have my friends that are in the industry with me and, like, community, and it's just like there's the biggest support,
absolutely,
ever.
Yeah.
And, like, I always tell her, like, you have a lot of potential. You can be better than me. Yeah. And I always tell her that you can be a lot better than me, in this whole thing. So I have a lot of confidence in her. I have a lot of faith in her, and I wouldn't have pushed you if I didn't think so.
Thanks.
So, it's just, you got this.
Oh man,
you got this. It's just, I like to be the picker upper, just because it is hard. We live in a hard community sometimes where, like how she said, like, we can be so hard. I am even hard on myself with, like, photos. Yeah. And there's galleries that I take and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I know. And it's interesting. I think sometimes too, like, when you share your photos, like, you ask for criticism from other photographers. If experienced photographer says it's good, it's usually good, because they look at, like, I look at photos constantly. So, like, okay. But again, too, sometimes if, like, you're sharing with a photographer that may not be in the same style too, I think they may be a little bit more critical about your work, right? But if you guys have similar styles, and it's like, okay, just confirmation that you're doing great, especially coming from Silvi, who's been doing this for many years. Because if you send it to a client, and this is what I felt in the beginning when I first started, as like, man, if I'm gonna send this to a client, are they gonna, like, give me a bad review if the photos are bad, right? I always felt like I'm gonna get a bad review, but then I would, like, share it with other professional photographers, like, oh, Mike, you're fine, you're good. I just needed the confirmation before I send the gallery out. I was like, okay, I'm okay, I can calm down a little bit. But even like some of that, not the super good photos, like, the clients doesn't really have our eye. So it's like, even like that, not like the rated B photos, it's still so good. And it's just the way it is, because they look at phone photos, we look at, like, high def photos, right? So but I think that's, like, part of, like, evolving as a photographer, is learning those things. Even when I first started, I felt like I needed better gear to achieve those, right? It's like, I gotta buy more gear. But honestly, like, now I've learned so many years now, it's like, okay, it's part of that is gear. Of I'm gonna admit, it's having better gear makes the photos better for sure. But I think the way you pose clients, the way you communicate clients, goes a long way to achieve the look that you want. So in terms of, like, getting those photos edited a certain way, I think for you, and again, this is just my advice, I think as long as you believe that these are great and you send it to client, I think you'll do well. Just believe in your work. Be the biggest fan of your work, but of course still be critical, because you want to make sure you provide the best quality as possible.
Definitely. I agree.
Yeah, awesome. Because I was just looking at your Instagram really quick, just to take a peek. And they're great. I love the style. It's like almost like Silvi style. Not exactly, right? But it's very, like you said, very free flowing. And just, like, careless kind of, right? Yeah. So let me ask you, 'cause you do family photos and couple sessions too, right? So let me ask you about your client experience. So, for example, like, you have that first consultation call, and then like, tell us the process you go through from the first call to the actual session
for wedding photography.
It could be a family, or it could be a couple session.
Well, for a regular session, so either they'll DM me, or they'll contact me through my bio, I have a link to the Unscripted
Nice.
like booking form.
You're not featured yet, right? Are you featured? Okay.
Actually, I don't think I've ever posted anything on there. I should try it.
You should try it.
I know.
You should submit photos.
I know I should. But even if they DM me or even if they message me and it's like family or something, I'll still like lead them towards Unscripted just because it's easier to track my clients.
Yeah.
Which I didn't start doing for a long time. And now I'm doing it because it's a lot easier to organize. So through the Unscripted app, they'll ask you just like your name, what do you want, what day do you want, time, type of location, and then on the bottom I just have like share a little bit of like about yourself, like, what would you like, and then from there I'll email them or text them and just say like, hey, like thank you so much for inquiring, like it means the world to me, like I am interested in working with you, so like let's do this, like let's do it, like here are my price, like what were you looking for. A lot of the time, because I am starting out, it is kind of like, okay, here are my prices, and then that's it. But I think now that I'm actually getting a ball rolling, like this last month was really consistent, and this month is really consistent. Next month I'm starting to book more, so it's really cool. So I'll tell them my prices, and then some of them it is too much. So I think something that I've learned through Silvi is just like work with budgets, which is nice. Just because I am starting out, it's not like I'm not like a huge like corporate business where it's like I charge $5,000. If you can't go lower, I'm sorry. Like, absolutely. They're like our budget's for $4,500 or something. So I definitely like to work with budgets. But if it is too low and they are, I can tell they're trying to take advantage of me, then that's when it does suck, and I'll say I'm sorry, like no. Absolutely. But most of the time, I've had really good clients, and everyone's really nice, or most of everyone is really nice. So far, I've had some pretty difficult ones. But so I'll tell them, we'll book the date. It's just a lot of communication. Absolutely. A lot, definitely. I'm really bad at texting. I'm really bad at like keeping track. So sorry. I'm really bad at keeping track of like, okay, like I bet you on my phone right now I have like 200 messages right now. Like I'm really bad. So it's definitely a lot of commitment to stay in communication, but it's a client. Like I have to. It's my job.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So a lot of communication to figure out what they're looking for, because I want them to have what they're looking for. And if they don't even know what they're looking for, I'll create something. I'll just give them a location. Like, what do you want? Beach, forest, city? Like, what is your vibe? Like, what would you like? And from there, we'll think of location. And then I'll tell them, like, okay, so in order to book, it is a non-refundable deposit. Right. And you have to sign my contract. Yep. So I didn't do the contract for a while.
Oh, my God.
Not a good move. Not a good move.
I'm like, Irene, get on it.
I know.
Right away.
Yeah. Right away. No, that's how I lost out on a lot of things because of the contract, which is really sad to think about now.
Because a lot of times, sometimes when there's no contract, people take advantage of you, right? Yeah. And it's kind of like, okay, I put so much work into this, and now they're like, okay, can I get this for free? Can I get this for free? It's like, okay.
It sucks, but I've learned my lesson. So definitely now it's like right away, okay, so I need a deposit and a contract. Even if you can't pay the deposit now, you have 7 days to pay it, but I just need you to sign the contract.
Absolutely.
So after the contract, it depends how far the shoot is, as in date wise. Yeah. But I'll just text them every now and again. Yeah. Like if it's like in 7 months, I'll text them like in 2 months, like, hey, so just a reminder, we have a shoot on this day. Absolutely. And then like a month before, hey, so I'm just checking in, and then like a week before, so this week. Oh, that's great. So it's just to make sure, even to keep myself accountable, because I am very forgetful. Yeah, don't forget. So yeah, that's kind of just how it is, I guess. Everyone's been really kind. Most of everyone's been really kind. But I have now, it's really cool because I'm getting returning clients. Nice. So it's cool. So I'm like, okay, now get inquiries like, hey, so my sister's friend her daughter referred me to you. Like, it's cool.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like,
That's
it's a small world.
That's great.
It's cool.
Let me ask both of you guys on how you guys approach the actual, like, let's talk about engagement session. You've done engagement sessions,
Yeah.
right? So how do you guys approach an engagement session from the beginning, right? So let's say you guys have chosen a location and you guys are getting ready to shoot. So if you guys want to share maybe your approach on how you actually start and end. So let's start with Silvi. Like, how do you approach an engagement session? Like, what do you say to the client? What are your vision? Like, anything you want to share.
So when I approach it, like on the day of the session or just
on
in
the
general?
day, on the day, yeah.
So when I get there, I say hello, how you doing? Hey, and then I'm like, okay, so we'll walk together.
Yeah.
If it's like a distance, I'm like, okay, we'll meet together, we'll walk together.
Gotcha.
If not, if I get there early, I tend to get to the location earlier, and then I'm like, okay, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Let's meet here, and then we meet, we start. And I like to kind of prep them and like, I'm like, okay, let's do some warm-ups. I have a speaker with me.
Oh, nice.
So I play I'm like, hey, what music do you guys like? What do you like? And then they tell me. And then after that, if they don't have anything specific, I just have like a specific photography playlist.
Nice.
So it's very like indie acoustic kind of lovey-dovey
Awesome.
music. So I start playing the music. I'm like, okay, let's shimmy it out. Let's get loose. I know, like, I always tell them, like, I know it's weird because, like, we're getting to know each other fully more now before the wedding.
Yeah.
But it's like, I always tell them, like, hey, listen up. It's okay. Through the session, hopefully you guys get more comfortable and more loose. And, as we're going, I pose them. And then I have them running. I just like to have them move and just, like, look at each other and just have fun. Like, have fun.
Yeah.
Because these are pictures that you get to keep.
Absolutely.
And I always tell them, like, look, like, if you feel uncomfortable with a pose, let me know. If it's too much, let me know. I always tell them, like, if just you feel like this is pose, I can't do this, it's too much PDA. Don't be afraid to tell me, because my goal is for you to feel comfortable as possible in your session. And if there's something you can't do or you just don't want to do, just be like, just no.
Gotcha.
And I've had clients, like, they're like, I'm not comfortable with this pose, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's totally cool. Like, we get it. And then from there, like, we go through, and then once they start to loosen up more, it's when they start to just have fun and giggle. And I have them dance and, like, spin and twirl and running and climbing things. They've, like, wear a Joshua tree. And, like, that's the thing that I learned from you was, like, the fun climbing stuff, the rocks. And I'm like, thanks, Mike. And then it's, like, it's fun, and you get, like, those cute candid photos. And and then they start to get comfortable, and then I start to show them their pictures, and they're like, oh my gosh, and they start to get confidence in themselves.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like you should always show the back of the camera, or like do you show that on, like, you only show like the epic photos? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
So I like to, if they ask right away, then I do.
Okay.
But if it's like the cool spots that we're at, and I'm like, look, the epic shots, they look so good.
Oh, yeah.
But then I continue to go so they can see that I'm not just trying to be cheesy. And they're like, oh my gosh, they look so good. And then they're like, okay, come on. And then they just get more happier, and like that just gives them more happiness to like be like, okay, cool, like these are gonna look so good.
That's awesome.
And towards the end of the session, we do like more so towards the like if we have different locations going through the location that we're at, each end of like a spot that we're in, I'm like, okay, is there any idea that you like sparked in you that you want a pose from?
Nice. Yeah.
And they're like, sometimes they're like, yeah, can I do this? And I'm like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they're like, no, I think that's fine. Let's go to the next one.
Nice.
Or if we have second outfits too, I always say, do you have any other poses that you want? And they're like, no, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, I always say, okay, guys, is there anything that I missed? Any poses that you want? Because I always have clients send me Pinterest boards, inspirations of what they are looking for in their ideas. So if I need to go back, if they're like, there's this pose that I had in my Pinterest board, then I would pull up my phone and be like, which one was it?
Awesome.
And then we take it, and then after that, I'm like, okay, guys, like, we're done, yay! And we talk about the session a little bit, and then they're like, I'm so excited for the wedding day. This is gonna be so cool, and I can't wait for the pictures. And I always tell them that it was wonderful working with them. Awesome. They did amazing. They're a beautiful couple, and they're, it's true. They're always beautiful couples, every couple I get. Yeah. And then after that, I say, well, I will contact you soon, like, to meet for wedding details, and we can do video chat and blah, 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 or in person, whatever feels more comfortable. And after that, I give them a hug. I'm a hugger, so I give hugs. And after that, I'm like, okay, guys, get home safe, and we end it there, and then, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
It's a whole list.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Copy paste. Like copy paste.
How about you, Irene? How's like I know you worked with Silvi for so many years now. So like, what's kind of like your approach to an engagement session?
It's very similar. Mm-hmm. Definitely, just because I want to get whatever they want. Hello, hi. My name's Irene. It's always kind of awkward at first.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
awkward.
Hey, and especially because I'm young, they're like, you're taking our photos.
Who's this high school kid?
I know. So it's like, you're the one. Okay. So it is kind of nerve-wracking for me, just because I am always the youngest one there. But it's more of a challenge, I guess. So, so of course I always kind of start them off with just like smiling. Mm-hmm. Just because it's easy. Yeah. Like they're used to that. They're familiar with it. So I always start them off with that. And then I kind of start off with the basic ones, like, okay. All right, like hug each other a little bit, and like, and then of course some couples like don't get that close before they're married, or some couples like don't even kiss before they're married, or just things like that. Mm-hmm. So things to be mindful. Right. I just ask them like during, and then I ask them to move.
Okay. Do you have like a certain process, like with every couple that you work with? Like, do you get them in a certain position first, and then you move on to another pose, or like?
I feel like I always start with smiling, and then I always start with the
like a hugging pose.
Yeah, like the guy in back of the girl.
Or like a prom pose.
And they're kind of, but like instead of being so prom posey, they're like where they scrunch up a little bit, or I always ask like him like, okay, now like whisper something in her ear, like tell her a joke, because I'm not good with jokes, but you know her, you can make her laugh, and it always makes them laugh, and it's great just because in the middle of all of the joke you get a really good photos of them enjoying each other. And then I always, even though I always have an idea of the location of where I want to shoot, I'm always open to kind of what's around. Yeah. Just because you never know, what could pop up that day. Mm-hmm. I went with her to shoot an engagement for some of my best friends. I got married last year, and oh my gosh, and that one was so fun because we had just went to one location. And, we got a lot of good photos, like of them running, moving, like dancing. Like they were enjoying themselves. There was some music. Yep. It was fun. And then after, we were just walking, and then my friend Jesse, he was just like, "Hey, this looks cool. Like, can we do this?" And we were like, "Let's do it." And then we kept walking, and there was a beautiful sunset that day, like amazing sunset. So then before we left, we still took more photos, and it was a long shoot, but it was worth it. Like it was, the photos that came out were beautiful. Yeah. So it's definitely a lot of prompts, poses in the process, but being open to what they want and being open to even like what they say, because at the end, like even though we're giving them our service, like it's also like, I want to make them happy. Yeah, absolutely. Because they're the ones that are going to refer me to people. They're the ones that are going to help me even in growing in my business. So,
Awesome. Do you guys bring any props besides like your speaker? Anything else do you guys bring?
If they're grad sessions, I tend to bring like a bottle of like champagne
Nice.
for them to pop,
Nice.
or confetti.
Ooh, yeah, confetti's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And if it's couples engagement, I'm not an alcoholic, I promise. I have bottles of champagne in the fridge.
You're so funny.
I promise.
You're stocked up. Huh?
I'm stocked. And I'm like, Brad, we need to bring this bottle. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I forget it's in the car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to pop in here one day. And then, because I bring extras just in case, but I do for engagement and graduation sometimes. I have like cute heart-shaped sunglasses that I have for props.
That is cool.
Like for February time, it was the heart shapes were like the biggest thing. So I had like the pair of the red, pink, and white. And and then it was like, I have like these random props just in my backpack.
That's kind of cool.
And then for weddings, I have like spare like velvet ring cases and the
ribbons?
The ribbons and stuff like that. And
nice.
Just for the fun of like the pictures. I always have my backpack looks like it's throwing up sometimes. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's so funny. But
That's awesome.
Yeah, it depends for me. Depends on like what type of session, mini sessions, or if it's like a specific like special thing that I'm shooting for, then I'll include like a blanket. I'll include like a basket of flowers or like a stool or something.
Oh, stools.
Yeah, the stools are good.
Yeah.
The stools are nice. Yeah, it depends, honestly.
That's awesome. Going back to the champagne, have you had any client that didn't know how to open a champagne
Oh my
bottle?
gosh, yes. I had a grad session. I think it was in Riverside, and these kids, they're like, yeah, let's pop a bottle of champagne. And they had one, and I brought an extra one.
Okay.
So the kid was like in the center, and I thought he knew how, because they're college kids.
Yeah,
You would think they would know. But no, he like grabbed the bottle and he was on his knees and he just shook it up and down.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't cover it, nothing. It was just liquid coming out, splattering out. And I was like, oh wait, don't do that. So I'm like, you have to like put your thumb and cover it a little bit, shake it, and then let it
go.
Let go.
Oh,
a little
I
bit,
don't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
And then
Thank you.
And some champagne bottles, they either have like a top like screw, like just like a regular like
like a top twist.
and some they actually have the cork.
Yeah.
So the corks, they usually have like this wires that on four
scary.
sides. Yeah, and those are like a little bit more dangerous because that cork can pop. It's the pressure, right? So you have to be careful of like, that's why I always try like guide my clients safety first.
That way.
Yeah, do not point at me or your bride because you're gonna pop an eye. So like, yeah, like away from you. But that's the biggest thing is like giving them guidance, because if they just let it go and they don't shake it, it's like, okay, there's nothing happening. Or they didn't put their thumb halfway and it's just like a hose. It's just gonna, it's not spraying.
That's so funny. Imagine.
So yeah,
That's funny.
But yeah, like giving them the guidance too, it's like always key. But the blanket's nice. I sometimes do bring the blanket depending on the location.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, because if it's like a field or something with flowers, it's always cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The beach.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this: do you guys have any favorite location that you guys go to for a lot of couple sessions? Like, what's your go-to, Irene?
My go-to, I shoot a lot in like LA County.
Okay.
I'm there all the time. So I love the San Dimas Regional Park.
Oh, nice.
That park is so nice, and it's always empty.
Yeah, nice.
It's really nice. It's really big too.
Yep.
So I really like it there. I just know like different spots there, like little gates that are just randomly open that I just go to.
Once we post this, there's gonna be a lot of people on that. I'm not kidding.
Like, dang it. Like, sorry guys.
It's gonna go viral.
Oh man. But that place, trying to think. The beach.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an easy.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the beach. Everyone wants beach photos. I don't want to tell anyone now. It's like,
Your secret.
doing it. I go to Laguna, just because Laguna. There's something so special about Laguna. Like Huntington's nice, you know, Newport's nice, other places are nice, but Laguna is
beautiful.
so like precious and lovely to
Gorgeous.
me. Like it's so cool,
Yeah.
and it's always empty
Mm-hmm.
in the morning. In the morning, like it's always empty in the morning.
Except Saturday
I
evenings.
know. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Well, for me, I know because I posted one time like that I had went in the evening for a shoot, and I had a photographer message me, and she was like, "Where did you go? Like, why is there no one there?" And I told her like, "Oh, it was Laguna. Like, we went at 6 p.m. There was just no one there."
Yeah.
And she was like, "No way! Like that makes no sense." But I feel like I've gotten really lucky there. But yeah, Laguna's great. I love Laguna, especially because there's private beaches there. So I have my own spot that I just like going to. Yeah.
You charging people for your spot?
I don't, but I'm scared to say it now.
Just kidding.
But that's it for me.
Awesome. How about you, Silvi? What's like your favorite spots to go to?
Oh, lately it's been like an open field and like Riverside, borderline Corona almost. It's like, it's so pretty. It's like beautiful, beautiful area. Lately it's been an open field.
Nice.
And the beach, Laguna. I am not a beach girl.
That's where
We're like a wall. I love the beach. I don't like
But
the
I see a
beach.
lot of photos of beach photos from your Instagram.
I know. Gosh. I am not a beach girl. I am not.
It
I'm
must
sorry.
be Brad.
Don't come
Brad
to me.
takes
Oh
you
my
to the beach.
gosh.
His family they love the
Okay.
beach. They love it. I'm just
Their
like,
house is literally beach themed.
I know.
Like literally.
It's literally the beach, Laguna Beach themed. It's cute. It's a cute house.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not a beach girl, so that was like the one thing that I was like, I'm sorry, everyone. But I go and it's nice. It's nice to go once in a while like that.
Right.
But I don't go for like to hang out. But for photos, like that's one. Laguna Beach is a really beautiful spot.
Absolutely.
And then the open field. Lately, it's been Pasadena.
City Hall?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
It's
love that
so
location.
beautiful there.
Yeah.
And I think for now, it's been like that lately. Those 3 spots. But can I think of anything else? No, I cannot.
Anything local here in Riverside that you, besides the fields?
I like the downtown area. The rooftops here are really pretty.
Yeah. Have you ever been kicked out of the rooftop?
Not yet. So don't come for my spot, everyone.
Yeah, we'll mention the exact rooftop.
Where? Just the rooftop, like locally here. It's okay. I can share.
Oh, you're
okay.
so
I'm
sure.
sure.
You sure?
We don't
I'm
gatekeep.
sure.
We don't gatekeep.
We don't gatekeep.
Oh man. I'm not gonna say my private beach.
Don't say it private, bitch. Keep it private. So like the rooftop in in the food lab.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people like I've seen photo shoots there too.
Yeah.
But I think the one that I'm talking about, again, I don't know if I should share it, but it's right next to the middle of downtown. It's a
Okay.
parking structure.
Oh,
I-
I think I
what
was
I'm talking
going to go to that one
Yeah.
with another photographer and they got kicked out.
Yeah, so I was doing, it wasn't even like a couple session, I was just doing some branding photos, me and my buddy. And then like we walked up within 5 minutes, a security officer comes out. Apparently there's a camera there so they can see you.
Oh.
So that's why she came out. That spot right there, it's really cool because the way the sunset it hits that, but you just gotta time it right.
Yeah.
Again,
Don't get caught.
don't get caught. But yeah, the rooftop at the food lab.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah?
it's empty. Usually at the top, there's empty. Nobody goes up there.
Oh.
We had the style shoot up there, and no
Nice.
one came. We had everything set up. It was empty, and I'm just like, I was so nervous because you never know. They can be like, why are you up here? What is going on? You know, so I was so nervous. I'm like, okay, I was telling her, we get kicked out. We need to have a backup plan because that's going to suck.
Yeah.
But no, it was empty. No one came. Don't take over my spot. But I'm here to share. And it's nice. And like in the background, you get this whole library
Yeah,
building.
it's
and it's
pretty-
beautiful.
Pretty cool.
So it's like those have been like the go-to spots recently, and Fairmont Park.
Oh, really?
Fairmont Park
Okay.
by the lake when the sun sets, like
Yeah.
around 6:30. It's beautiful. If
Yeah.
you get there earlier, the sun's just hitting on the
it's too
lake.
harsh.
It's just like, whoa,
Yeah, bright. Yeah.
I'm blind.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, there's so many spots out here. I know, like, well, some of my favorite spots is Glamis, of course. Glamis Sand Dunes.
I want to go there.
Yeah, it's just a long drive.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from here to there is like 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a whole day. Like,
Let's do it.
yeah, if you guys are down, yeah. You got style shoot over there. You got to make like a whole day though.
I know.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then another one that I just recently went, and you have to pass by it to go to Glamis is Salton Sea.
Oh,
So there's a spot called Bombay Beach.
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so unique. It's almost like unregulated city. Like there's no law there. So on the beach, there's like a lot of artists that make some unique stuff. There was like a confession booth,
oh.
like an outdoor confession booth. They had this like windmill that was like running on like like crazy, and then they had on the actual lake in like maybe 20 to 30 feet in is a swing, and the swing's right above the water.
Oh, that's cool.
It's insane. Like, because I always pass by it, but I was like, I'm not gonna, it's just I didn't see that when I was driving by, but eventually like my hiking group went over there, and I was like, oh my god, this is like,
That's
and no one's there. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I would have to check out. I know there's a spot. Is it Bombay? Is that the one where like there's like random like stacks of TVs and cars?
There's another place called Slab City, which is
Okay.
this bunch of RVs there. It's like one of the last places in California where there's no law. You know, people
Oh,
just
I think I've heard.
yeah,
that
people live there because they don't want to be policed, or they don't want to like. There's just a lot of people that just want to be away from the city, but there's a lot of cool artists that's there too. And then another place that's like on the other side of the sea is called Salvation Mountain.
Oh, I've been there.
Have you been there? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think that's the spot that I saw someone go to,
Yeah.
and it looked so rad and like artistic, and like they did Salvation Mountain. Is that what it's called?
Salvation, yeah.
They weren't there, and then they went to that spot, like
yeah.
a spot there where it's just like there's like abandoned cars and boats,
Yep,
and
it's
like,
right there. Yeah.
I'm like, that looks so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah.
I know it's a drive.
Yeah, it's a long
I
drive.
want to drive.
It's far.
That's so cool.
And then my other spot that I really love is Big Bear Lake. It's just all these places are really far drive, especially
yeah.
during the winter. It's amazing up there. But the thing I can give you guys, if you guys want to go to Big Bear Lake during the winter time, you got to get there early. You know, like when people want to go see the snow, right? When it snows, and people stop and park on the side of the road. I mean, you're looking like, there's one time I had a couple that wanted to do like a photo shoot up there. It was like a few days after New Year's.
Wow.
And it was like kind of like this right now. Like it's warm, but there's snow up there.
Ooh.
And so that's like the perfect combination. And we just said, oh yeah, let's do like sunset, right? And it was on a Saturday. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Like at the time I didn't think about it. I was like, oh, that's perfect time. So we were supposed to, I think sunset was setting at like 6 or 7.
Wow.
And literally I knew because I still need to like prepare all my stuff. So I usually get there a little bit earlier than them. So I left like at, I think, maybe 2:30 because I want to just walk around. So I get there kind of early. It took me 4.5 hours
Oh my
to get up to
gosh.
Big Bear. And I took the back way.
Oh my gosh.
And then they came, they're actually closer. I think they live like near San Bernardino or something. So it took them 3.5 hours to get up there because there's so much traffic going up to, the roads. There were so many cars and everybody just keep pulling to the side to take photos. And that was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. Because by the time we got there was literally like 10 minutes of light. And we got like 2 photos. And then so you have to reschedule it for another day and just do it, like get there earlier. So that was like, one of like the hardest things. Like I was like, okay, let's just do this again. Let's reschedule this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a drive,
Yeah.
and oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a hard one because I was like, man, I got to go up there again,
Oh, yeah.
in a couple weeks. But again, it's just planning too, right? Like if you're choosing a location, and I think that's one of like the most important things is like, when you guys are choosing a location for like your couple, like it's you're prepping them to know what to expect. You know, some locations don't have a restroom.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like what's that like? Well, in Joshua Tree, you know, luckily there's restrooms there, but there's not a restroom for every single location like we want to.
Yeah.
Or what's one that man, I want to share all my good spots, but I don't mind. It's all on my website. Glen Arbor Park in Murrieta, really cool spot.
Ooh.
So much trees, so much shade, but there's no restrooms. So literally the next, I think the restroom is Target right off of like Clinton. I can't remember the exit, but yeah, Clinton Keith. Yeah. So there's no restrooms in the entire area.
Oh my gosh.
So like you got to use restrooms
before you get there.
Yeah, and there's no like, you know, if the client wants to change outfits, like one of the things I do, you know, I bring a pop-up tent. Yeah.
That's smart.
Another thing I learned from you.
Yeah. Because like I don't like, especially if you have to walk,
Yeah.
you know, to a location. Like I'm not gonna have you guys walk back to the car and change. It's just too much. Unless you, especially if you don't feel comfortable changing,
In your car,
right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to think about too when you're prepping for a location. Yes.
Oh,
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Awesome. So I definitely want to get a little bit into social media since you're so young, Irene.
Yeah.
I want to pick your brain on, you know, this subject because I grew up, well, I was still growing up with social media, but now you're like coming into like what it is now. Because I remember when I was in high school, Napster, you probably don't remember Napster.
I don't.
We grew up with CDs and iPods. Yeah, iPods back in the
I had one.
Yeah, big iPods though. And so there was not really any social media. There was just like newspapers and Craigslist. So like, you know, to promote your business, you have to go to the newspaper or on Craigslist. So like now like social media is so like free and so easy to use. And so like in terms of like you as now as a established photographer, how do you feel about social media like in terms of attracting your clients? Like when you post certain posts, do you think about like what your ideal client is, or you're just posting to kind of stay active on there, or are you trying to like set your brand? Like what's your thoughts when you're posting certain content?
I think it's all of it.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because on the side, I'm also a social media manager.
Oh, nice.
So it's definitely helped me a lot because I think for so long I was kind of focusing on like my other work and like my other jobs. So I kind of thought maybe my photography Instagram will just kind of grow on its own.
Yeah.
But no. No. It definitely helps.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You good?
It definitely helps just being, people want to see the human behind the account. So it's definitely a lot of posting. I post photos that I like, that I know that are good, because it'll attract clients that want those photos. I am starting to be more specific on what I post, because before I would post everything that I did.
Okay.
I would just, if I did like a maternity, I'd post it. If I did a family, I'd post it. A baby shower, I'd post it. But now I'm trying to attract what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because like honestly, like I don't want to do all of that. Like
Gotcha.
all I want to, like I said earlier, all I want to do is weddings, elopements, couples.
Yeah.
But because I am starting out, I don't have that opportunity
Yeah.
or that privilege of choosing what I want to do just yet. But so yeah, I don't post everything, definitely, just because I don't want to attract like a quinceañera. Like I don't want to do a quinceañera anymore. Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But you know, if it comes up, I'll do it. But I don't want to attract clients that do that.
Gotcha.
But I also am just trying to be more mindful that people just want to see the person behind the account.
Yeah.
Because no one, if you see, it's like if you see an ad, like you don't want to keep seeing an ad over and over again, and then you just get tired of it and you just don't want to see it anymore. But if it's an actual person speaking or saying something that you normally don't see from everyone, or saying something that you don't hear from everyone, then it's like, oh, okay, like I'm interested. Like, what do you have to say? I recently just recorded like myself like speaking on my account. It was the weirdest thing in the world. I was like, oh my gosh, like it was weird, but I did get really good engagement from that. And that's what people like want. They want to see a face. They want to see an actual person. They don't want to just see posts of what you could do. They want to see the person.
Awesome. Since we talked, Silvi, has there been anything that you've done differently in terms of social media?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just more so being more active. Because lately I haven't really been too active, but I've been trying just to be more active. And engaging more with people. But yeah, I know it's hard.
I know. I mean, Instagram keeps changing. I know recently they talked about the algorithm pushing. Oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought here. Photos now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but specifically more than one photo. What do you call it?
Carousel.
Carousel. Oh my God. Yeah. See, I'm a social media manager.
This is what's happening.
So because even like 3 months ago, it was all about reels.
Yeah.
And
I know.
so like now it's like, we have to constantly keep ourselves updated with the changes. So how do you feel, both of you guys, how do you feel about like, I know like, because photography is so personal for some of the clients, like, do you feel like photographers should really put their personalities more on Instagram, or should you just keep it straightforward?
Ooh. I feel like, well, I always tell, like, I've told her, like, the more you show your face and who you are, the better that they know who you're getting. And I've told my brother-in-law's girlfriend the same thing. I'm like, the more you show your personality and who's behind the camera, because she does nails.
Yeah.
So normally it's like nail content, but and she's like, I don't know what else to do to gain more engagement for people. And I'm like, maybe just show your face more and show who's behind the camera and show who they're getting their nails done by. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, you're right. And she's doing it a little bit here and there, but I always feel like the more that you show your face and your personality, people will know who they're booking in with and who they're getting in return. Because I feel like if you're not showing your face or talking or showing who you are, they're just going to be like, I don't know who I'm booking with. Yeah. But then again, it's important to have like video chats with clients beforehand if they want to engage with you. So, or even a phone call, so they know who they're going to end up getting in the end of it all. Yeah.
How about you, Irene?
Yeah, I think you need to find a balance for sure. Because I want to show people my work and I want to show people what I'm capable of, but I also want to show that it's not just it's not another photography business that can do something good, but it's like you can find a friend in me also.
Right.
Like you can find, like, it's not just work. There are some people where it is like, you can tell they just want a business relationship where like, you just do my photos after we're not talking. Like that's just it. And it's not anything rude. It's just how they see it, I guess. But I think that's also something really cool about photography, that it's not like it's a relationship business. Like it's something that you build with other people. So it's a balance for sure. Awesome. I normally keep it where like my stories, I try to post a lot about myself. Yeah. And then on my posts, I do mainly my work. And then I'll still post about myself a little bit, but mainly it's my work.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think because photography, I think it's still one of those industries where you're going to have someone behind the camera taking the photos. It's not going to be systemized or automated like machines, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a creativity factor when it comes to photography. So like people want to know who's behind the camera. And I think, in my opinion, again, I'm kind of like Silvi's, I'm piggybacking on Silvi's opinion. It's like, I do feel like a lot of photographers don't show their face, and maybe it's pulling them back a little bit, or not like, maybe clients, because I think clients definitely want to see who's behind the camera and wants to see a little bit of your, like, your personality a little bit. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be talking to them and communicating, you know, on the day of the wedding or the engagement session. So I think it's so important that, I mean, you don't have to like literally like do like a IG live like I do sometimes, but you could do stories, right? You could do different things. Like you do a reel that's fun if you're like that type of personality. I mean, it could be so many ways, or you can even just like do behind the scenes, right? There's so many things you can do. And I encourage you, like, because I have some new photographers that kind of just shadowed me, and it's like, put yourself out there, like whatever you like, you know, like if you do something that as it's another hobby, like show that, because that's part of like attracting clients. Like they may see that they may like the same thing that you do. Like, you know, for me, I like hiking. So maybe clients that do like hiking too, oh, Mike hikes too. Okay, cool. May connect with them. Or someone that loves coffee, like Silvi. Oh, Silvi loves coffee. I love coffee too. So it's like, okay, cool. So things like that I think people don't really think about, right, when they're attracting clients. So, but yeah, I just have a couple more questions for you guys. And then we'll wrap this up.
Sounds great.
So Irene, what keeps you motivated to keep going, you know, and become a wedding photographer?
I think the people around me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any specific people that you want to mention?
Silvi definitely helps me a lot. Just because I know, like, even if, like, let's say I have nothing booked, like, she'll ask me, like, hey, like, if you need, like, if you want to come, like, you can come. Like, it's not like a wall, like, sorry, this is mine. Like, you can't come to this one. But it's really nice. Yeah, Silvi for sure. I think my family as well. My mom is always, like, telling me, like Irene, like, I just told my friend about you. Like, she'll, like,
I love that.
like, she's funny. She's always telling me things. And my dad, he's a man of very, minimal words, but he's always just kind of like, good job. But like, you know that it means a lot. Like, it means a lot.
It's a man's man.
Yeah, but definitely my family, like my brothers. I have 3 brothers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my sister-in-laws, but they're always like, they're the ones in the beginning that were helping me, like, and telling me like come take our photos, like come help us with this, come do this for us. And it helps me. I have a lot of friends. I go to church, so I have a big family that aren't blood, but they're basically like blood there. So it's definitely a lot of the people, because I mean, we can't really do anything alone in this life, or else that'd be really sad and very discouraging. So definitely my family, my friends, but Silvi.
Awesome. So Silvi, any new inspirations or any new projects you're working on?
New inspiration. As of right now, not right now, but any new projects that I'm working on, I'm trying to get another. I'm trying to think about doing another style shoot.
Nice.
And like,
I know. We'll talk about it later.
Secret spot again.
Secret spot. Not this one, guys. I'm just kidding. Probably just work on another style shoot and get creative again. I love them because I've met really cool people in the style shoot, you know?
Nice.
And I'm currently collaborating with Paola, who she's a videographer.
Oh, nice.
So I met her through the style shoot. And she's collaborating with Kayla that she met through the style shoot. And she's great. And Ashley.
Shout out to them.
Shout out, you guys. And then, like, those are, like, I've been working with Paola. Yesterday, we collaborated with Janice, who's another photographer. And Paola's been trying to get into photography. So, like, collaborating like that, like the style shoot, just brought out more community to go off of. And I think that's, like, another project that I wanna continue to do once in a while. It's a lot of work. It's expensive, and it's stressful, but it's worth it, because community over competition is like my thing. And like, I don't know, I'm creating relationships with other people.
That's great. I think because, you know, we've been doing it for so long that sometimes we need something new to kind of get excited about. And so, like, for my personal, like, project is more video centered now. But I still love photography. But yeah, like I try to do my own little things here and there, like certain projects I want to do that I put, you know, maybe just still to the side, but I still work on it. But yeah, like I think attending photographer meetups or you know, style shoots is always great. You just meet like-minded people. I mean, it's amazing.
It's awesome. I feel like I don't know, it's great.
Yeah.
You know, because you guys can communicate and share. Obviously there's some people who they're shy, or they just don't really want to talk, and you know, that's okay. But I feel like it gets them out of their comfort zone a little bit. There are some people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm so scared. And like the first time I went to one, I was so scared. Like we got to the location and I was sitting in the car, but I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can go to the style shoot. And because I wanted, it was a giveaway that I won.
Oh.
So I was like, I attended for free. But it was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. This is too much.
Was it more the fear of like meeting other photographers?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like the fear of meeting other people and like, oh my gosh, like more people that do what I do, and it's like they're probably way better than me, and like it was just nerve-wracking. But my husband's like, dude, just do it. It was all the way in like Long Beach.
Oh my goodness.
It's so far. I'm like, let's just go home.
Just go.
And he's like, no, I drove all this way. You're gonna do it. And I'm like, okay. So I stayed, and I'm so glad I did, because I met amazing like photographers that I still work with here and there, and then some of the models that has, you know, she's amazing. I think she was one of the skater couples for the shoot, and she was really rad. She was really cool, very sweet. So we communicate still.
Awesome.
And you just meet people. I feel like that's why it's like cool projects to continue. So like the style shoot, and I'm trying to get into Super 8 films, like filming into Super 8.
Yeah. Me too. Well, yeah.
It's hard because like so Taylor Jackson, she did it for she showed me it, and I was like, okay, ooh, that's cool. And she did like a test shoot for the camera, because she had something booked in Vegas that she wanted to see if it worked. Yeah. So we did it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I've been wanting one for a while, but I saw how they work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and they're cool, and they're expensive.
Super expensive.
So expensive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Irene, so you know, you've been doing this for a couple of years now. What advice would you give a new photographer? What's some of the lessons you've learned, and you know, do you want to share some advice for anyone that wants to get into wedding photography?
Just do it. Literally. I feel like there's so many things I could say, but just from experience, I think that was the thing that kept me from doing it. Just because there was always something. Like there's always, if you think of a perfect time to do something, you're never going to do it, because there's never a perfect time to do anything, because something always comes up. Like life is just like that. Yeah. And why not do it now? Yeah. I guess. So yeah, because there's always something with me. It was, my camera isn't that great. I don't even have a name for my photography. I don't like my name. I don't want to use my name. Like, what?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And then, like, what am I even going to do? Like, how do I do this? So you just have to do it. Just do it. Yeah, just start it. And it's going to be hard, for sure. It's going to be hard. Just because even for me with the slow seasons, that's when I kind of got the understanding of what a slow season is. Yeah. But just because it's slow, it doesn't mean that it's over. Yeah, because December, January, February, that was so rough. And as of right now, I'm doing this full time.
Oh, wow.
So that was rough. I was definitely like, oh my gosh, like I need to put gas, I need to pay bills, I have to do things, and I don't have a shoot. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. So it was definitely really hard, but try to get into contact and connect with photographers, because that's what really helped me. Like if I didn't have Silvi to help me with like connecting with other ones as well, and then just getting shoots and getting content out, then even if you like, at least people will see that you're doing something. Because like even if you know you're not doing anything, at least people can think you're doing something, and then they can see like, okay, like she's like, I want to shoot from her, and then they'll book you, and it helps. So getting into contact with photographers, and then most of all, don't be hard on yourself, which obviously, like I said, I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah.
But you know, they're just, with every skill and every thing you learn, you don't, like, it's going to be hard to learn everything all at once, and you won't. You're not going to be great at it either at first, or even years from down the line, but it just takes a lot of practice. And that's what I'm trying to teach myself as well.
That's awesome. Silvi, same question. I think I asked you this before, but maybe we'll get a different answer from you.
I'm ready.
So, again, any piece of advice for new photographers that really want to make this a career? Like, what would you tell them?
I would just tell them, like, just go for it, because like what she was like saying, like, there's never a perfect time in life, because the more that you wait, you're just wasting that time that you could be learning, you know, and experiencing, and you know, and just don't give up, because I know it's hard. It's hard, and I know there's been times where she's like, you know, there's nothing for me, and then like I feel you.
Yeah. And
it's hard, but don't give up, because the time that you give up is just gonna start to pick up, you know?
Exactly.
And it's just I would say just communicate with community, and like you know, see if there, I would recommend going into like the Facebook groups for second shooters, and like second shooters, like Facebook groups for communities and stuff, and like connect.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get opportunities, you know, that way, and you learn, and or reach out to other photographers that you feel comfortable reaching out to kind of come along and shoot, you know. It's just don't give up. I know it's hard. It's so hard not to give up. I'm just, because there's been times even now where I'm just like, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, recently I felt so, because I've been, you know, I have things booked out already all the way till May, but like I haven't gotten anything recently, and I'm just like, I think I'm done. I think this is it. I'm gonna close my books for the rest of the year. We're done. But then I get like a few days later, I'm like getting inquiries and DMs. I'm like, I said I was done. What is this? But
God's
it's
like, no.
You're not done yet. And it's just like, just don't give up, because something will come of it.
Absolutely.
And it's not an overnight thing. It can take you a few months.
Yeah.
It can take you a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was working Starbucks and doing photography at the same time. So
absolutely.
It's just wait.
Yeah.
It will come.
Yeah. Now, great advice, guys. I think a lot of people that may be listening to this, you know, maybe at a starting point that this is what they want to do, but have second doubts maybe. And I think they probably need some encouragement, right, to keep going. And I think sometimes they just need the right advice. Like, you know, just like join Facebook groups, find a community in your area, and just connect with other photographers. But I know it's hard because like people think it's competition and like, oh, that photographer's better than me. But I think if you just open your mind and not think like that, you're going to have a better outcome.
Definitely.
And I tell a lot of my team members, just show up every day. Just show up on Instagram, show up on social media. You know, try to fill your calendar up, and have the mindset of like shooting every day. If this is like what you want to do, I would always, again, I'm a little different, but I would, like when I first started, I literally took my camera everywhere I went. Like I would shoot my family members, shoot everything. Like I would go out here in downtown Riverside. If I show you my old photos, you're probably like, what the hell is that? Like, that's not, I mean, if I look back at my old work, it's like, oh man, that really sucked. Like, that really sucked. Like If I did share a photo of my one of my first weddings on my IG recently, and yeah, that was so precious. But yeah, that was like when I was first started.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like it's motivation now. When I look back, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I've gone
Look
a
how
long,
I've come
a long
far.
way. Like I'm still doing this, you know. And so I think it's just good to keep at it. Some people have early success.
Yeah.
Some people take many years, like
Yeah.
myself, but I just kept going and worked hard and just, you know, did all the little things that other photographers didn't do. But at the end of the day, I love what I do. Like it's just amazing. Like I get to wake up and I'm like, oh man, I wake up every day and I'm like, I take photos for a living. I was like, that's crazy, right? You know.
Yeah,
So and like
cool.
who has a better job than us sometimes?
I know.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's great.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Oh,
right?
it's great. It's
But
awesome.
awesome. So I think we're gonna wrap it up here. So if you want to share your social media accounts, Irene, go ahead and give it a plug.
Like I said, I don't like my name, so I didn't use my name. My Instagram is @bywildbloom. Wild Bloom.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's a cool name. I like that. I like that. And how can people? Is that the primary way of people connecting with you? It's on Instagram.
Through Instagram,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
for sure. Yeah, because in my bio, you can just click and I have my email and phone through there.
Okay, cool. And you, Silva, you want to share your accounts again?
I have my Instagram, which is S Gibson Photos, and then I have Sylvia Gibson Photos on Facebook.
Awesome.
And I think that's all I have for now until I start to market more.
Awesome.
Hopefully,
Website.
woo, woo.
Awesome.
One day.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
joining me
Thank
today.
you.
It was great learning and meeting you, Irene. Hopefully we'll have you back maybe like down the line for a follow-up.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We will see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Bye.